I want to talk about keeping track of where you are as you're going along in the project. And I've waited until I got quite a bit of fabric on the needles before doing this because it is easier to see what's going on once there's more fabric on the needles. And that's because the fabric itself can help you see what's happening. For instance, now you can look at the needle, and you should look at the needle and see how the stitches are presenting themselves. This is a single stitch, and so you know it should be followed by a twin stitch, which should be followed by a single stitch, which should be followed by a twin stitch. And sometimes the twin stitches will look a little different. In this case, we have the slip stitch, and the yarn over is laying right across the top of it. And here they are more next to each other, but it's the same thing. You can move this over a little bit, and there, ta-da. But you know that it's supposed to be a single and a twin and a single and a twin all the way across. You can also, in working this piece, use your columns. Do you see how this column here looks like the letter V all stacked on top of itself? Well, at the top of a column of V's, you should see a twin stitch. So that's another way that you can keep yourself on track. If you were ever to not see a twin stitch at the top of a column of V's, a twin stitch on the needle at the top, you'd know that something was off somewhere. So all of these things are good. It's kind of, well, it's frustrating when anything goes wrong, but it's I think, even more frustrating when you've been going along doing what you think you should be doing, and then about 3 or 4 rows later you realize, well, this isn't right, and then there's a lot more to undo and fix. So as I'm going along, I can say to myself, slip, yarn over, brioche knit, and try and keep myself on track that way. But if I also combine thinking about what I'm supposed to do with knowing what I'm supposed to look at on the left-hand needle, that'll ensure success. So I'm thinking, okay, it's time to slip a stitch and yarn over that stitch. It should be a single stitch. It is. Slip, yarn over. Time to brioche knit. That should be a twin stitch. Also, that should be at the top of this column of V's. Brioche knit. So if you can do both things, think about what it is that you're supposed to be doing in the pattern across these 12 stitches, but also look at the stitches as they're coming off your left-hand needle and see if they are looking the way they should for what you're about to do. So when you see a single stitch, you slip it and take the yarn over the needle. When you see a twin stitch, you brioche knit it, meaning knit those two things together. And in that way, hopefully, you can stay on track for the whole project.